Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, and we are coming to you from the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island because that's where the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce always has their annual policy conference. And what policy is more important than the monetary policy, right? So we have T. Rann Paynter is here, and he is the executive director of the Michigan Bankers Association. How you doing?
I'm good, Chris. Thanks so much for having me. It's always great to sit down with you for a few minutes at this
Well,
conference.
it's great to have you here, and I always like a positive answer to this question. There's still money, right?
There is.
Oh,
There's lots of money, Chris.
you know,
Most of it's in your pocket.
it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I know. I've had bankers money in my but it's interesting because I have a little insight. I served on bank boards for about
Sure.
25 years, and it is a fascinating industry when you realize that what they're trading in, their commodity, is money.
Right.
And it's a whole different perspective,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting. How's the industry?
I think the industry is strong.
Good.
Yes, it's strong and vibrant in Michigan. Um, Certainly there are sectors that have of the business world that have had some challenges, but I think in the main it's strong and the banks are strong and lending money and people always want there to be more in the form of rates on their return on their
Sure.
deposits and less on the borrowing side. But that's just life and a function of how that all works.
Well, this is a thing from the banker side called net interest margin,
That's
and
right.
you really have to make money to stay in business.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
You have costs that it's not the
Yeah.
running a business is not free, and a bank is a business,
Well,
just like your business.
that's
That's
it's so
involved.
funny you say that because there are a lot of people that don't look at it that way, and then
Well,
then you tie it to the Federal Reserve, and they're sure that
well,
that's where the money comes from.
that's right.
You know,
Well, a bank, especially when you're looking at a community bank, is a business just like any other business in the community, and it's as strong as the community that it supports. So, having strong communities supporting strong banking is vital.
no. And when you look at the history of banking, countries need banking. They have to
That's,
have it to
well,
grow.
they do, and we're so fortunate in this country, even with the amount of consolidation that we've had and that we continue to have, that we have a vibrant banking system with large banks, small banks, banks of all sizes serving their communities with with boards of directors who are business people in the community who also add to the pulse, and then that we have regulatory bodies um, who ensure that we have a safe and sound banking world and with whom bankers can communicate with. That's not the case in every country.
Yeah.
And, when you think about some of the challenges that are going on in the world, sometimes we take for granted the things that we have. And there's a lot of positivity.
We certainly do.
There's a lot of positivity there.
I would encourage everybody to travel. If you think we got problems here, travel.
Indeed, indeed,
Find out how euphoric we have it.
indeed.
So, enough of the history lesson of banking and its necessity. Let's talk about these days. And you mentioned consolidation because we have probably, what, one third the number of banks we had 40 years ago?
That's about right. That's
Yeah,
about right. We have 76 bank charters in the state of Michigan, about 112 banks doing business in the state.
yeah.
So,
Well, a lot of that is consolidation for efficiency. You
right,
centralize operations, things
absolutely.
like that. But what I've seen in the past is it spawns community banks to come up or smaller banks to come up to fill that void.
That was traditionally the case.
Yeah.
Yes. If if you bought my bank in whatever town in Michigan, um, then typically a group of business people would get together within a year and say, you know, Holman Bank and Trust is now our bank, and we'd like to have our own bank here in our town.
Yeah.
And they would form a board of directors, raise money, and get that done. Today, the cost is much greater, probably 25, $30 million to start a bank. Um, and the regulations are just um, much more onerous than they were. I know, yeah, as they are in so many things.
Oh, it's
And
true.
so um, people hesitate. So, and we've had two de novo or new banks in our state in the last 5 years, which is wonderful, more than in many states. But when you look at the consolidation I'm about to start my 10th year here. I'm going to guesstimate 20 to 25 banks that have been acquired. You know, 30 years ago, there would have been at least 15 new banks out of that.
Yeah.
You would have had a net loss of 10, but not a net loss of 23, so to speak.
Well, listen, I could talk to you all day about this. I
Yes,
honestly
sir.
could. We got about 30 seconds left. Federal Reserve, you got a crystal ball on that one?
Oh, if I did, I would be sitting here. I'd be out on my yacht here in the harbor. I don't, I think interest rates, I think they'll be slow to move. Yeah, I think I'm slow to move.
I agree with you.
But I'm not an economist. That's just, let me hit some my disclaimer. That's just,
So don't call you at home.
don't call me at home.
Don't
Don't call me at home. You can call me at home anytime.
I can.
So much.
Thank you very much. Rann Paynter, the executive director of the Michigan Bankers Association. And thanks so much for being with us, buddy. Keep it
Thank
going.
you so much. We appreciate it, Chris.
And remember, the money is there. Go get it.
It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Chris Holman, of course, and we're coming to you from the Grand Hotel, which is where the Detroit Regional Chamber of Commerce has their annual policy conference. We'll be right back. You can view the Michigan Business Network right here.